Hello, my name is Mario and welcome. Giving 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10 on a survey is not the end of a customer experience. It is rather the beginning of something that could go over customer expectations. In this video, I will explain what I mean by that and will give you all the in and out of the NPS, Net Promoter Score. Let's say you want to go on a vacation and you decide to do business with a travel agency. Wait, we need a little ambiance. So, what are your expectations when dealing with a travel agency? The answer I get usually are those ones. Polite, professional, good follow-up, competent. They let me know the promotion, help if I have any problem, make good suggestion. So, you want to go on a trip and you use the services of a travel agent named Genevieve. About 3 months prior to the date you want to travel, you call her and say, "Hey Genevieve, I want to go on a trip to Mexico with my family. 2 adults, 2 children, and here is my budget. Can you find me an all-inclusive package? I want to travel from February 1st to the 8th, and I only want the 4 or 5 stars hotel." Genevieve asks me a few questions and then say, "Mario, it will be my pleasure. I will find all this for you and I will come back to you in 2 or 3 days with 5 suggestions." The very next day, I receive a message in my email with 6 suggestions. A few minutes after receiving the email, Genevieve calls me. "Hello Mario, it's Genevieve. I want to make sure you receive my email. I sent you 6 suggestions instead of 5 because there was a promotion for the Barcelona in Riviera Maya. Check this out as a family tonight and I will call you within 48 hours to see what you have chosen. In the meantime, if you have any question, contact me directly on my cell phone at 514-434-9423. 48 hours later, she calls me back as promised. "Hello Mario, so what will be your destination for your vacation?" "We will take the Barcelona package in Riviera Maya, Genevieve." "Mario, I think it's an excellent choice. I have clients who have visited it and they told me great things about it. They mentioned a little French restaurant on site that serves coffee that tastes like heaven. I'm making the arrangement and you should receive by confirmation the email in the next hour." Less than an hour later, I received the reservation and my departure is in a month. So far, what rating would you give Genevieve? 1 to 5, 5 being the best. 1 week before leaving, Genevieve calls me back and says, "Hi Mario, I know you are leaving in a week. I'm pretty sure you and your family must be very excited now. Just want to make sure your passports and insurance are up to date for your trip. Genevieve, thanks for calling. Everything is up to date on this side. Thank you. Great. I'll send some suggestions of activities you can do during your stay. I'll give you also some good restaurants near your hotel. I have several of my clients who have been there and they liked it. Let me know how it goes. Bye." What rating would you give Genevieve? 1 to 5, 5 being the best. Wait, 24 hours before leaving, Genevieve calls me again. "Hello Mario, I know you are leaving tomorrow. I just want to wish you and your family a good trip and especially to remind you of our toll-free emergency line if anything happens to you. It is 1-800-444-HELP. I really hope you won't have to use it. Have a safe trip." So you finally arrive in Mexico and you know how it smells and feels when you go out of the plane, the humidity. You get at your hotel and when you first come in, you see on your bed a basket of fruit with a note that says, "Mario, Emily, Coralie, and Rosemary, enjoy your week of vacation and have a fruit on me." We spend our week of vacation, nice weather, and a lot of fun in family. Time to go back home now. And after a few days upon arrival, guess who calls me? Genevieve. "Hi Mario, how was your week of vacation with the family?" And from then, Genevieve have been sending me email every 6 months talking about travel because she knows we travel at least 2 to 3 times a year. What rating would you give Genevieve experience now? 1 to 5, 5 being the best. The point is, from the beginning you gave Genevieve a pretty good score, right? She then continued to exceed our expectation. A 5 or a 10 experience is just the beginning, not the end of a customer experience. If you get a 5, it means you don't have too many problems and your processes are working fairly well. But it is just the beginning. How much did it cost Genevieve to do all this? 0, only time. And wait, the best part about it? I never tried to coach the survey. Oh my God, what an experience! Where is your survey so I want to fill it in? We know that business performance indicators tend to be complex at times. If you have been following this channel for a while, you know that I like things simple. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, I invite you to do so now. When I do business with a new client, I always try to get a head start by taking into account 3 key indicators. This allows me to measure and anticipate the success of the business. I'm pretty sure you've seen in the past a 3-legged stool. The balance of the stool represents the level of success of the company. The length of each leg is a key element of a success. The first is customer experience, the second is employee experience, and the third is performance indicators of, if you prefer, KPIs. What happens if I don't pay much attention to my employees? My stool becomes unbalanced and I can end up with high turnover, for example. If I only talk to my team about numbers and reports and results, I extend this leg and it also becomes unbalanced. Finally, and this is the subject of today's video, what happens if I never give any metrics about the customer experience? My stool is also out of balance. The idea as a manager is to balance all of the 3 wisely. One of the KPI that you need to be able to communicate across your entire organization is obviously customer experience. We like to use NPS because it's simple. NPS is an acronym for Net Promoter Score. It's a single question based on the likelihood that someone will recommend your company to their friends and family. The NPS, Net Promoter Score, comes down to a single question. The question might look like this one. On a scale of 0 to 10, how likely would you be to recommend ABC company to a friend or colleague? People are then given the opportunity to give a score from 0 to 10 based on their own experience. The extreme of 0 and 10 are often combined with a qualifier to help in evaluation. This can range from never to absolutely or not at all to completely. So it is an 11-point scale. If someone gives you a high score of 9 or 10, they will be your promoter. It will be your word of mouth and it will be your marketing strength to consumers. They will even go so far as to defend your service or product to people who have a contrary opinion. These people will probably pay more for your service and product. They will also try your new product and service the first. This is a group that is very important to satisfy and keep happy. The people in the second group are the passive satisfied. These are a complex group because they are not disappointed, but they will not go out of their way to support your product or service. They are simply consumers, not customers. They don't really tip the scales for good or bad, but they do offer potential. Passive satisfier may switch to similar product or service based on where they get the most incentives. So a passive satisfied can be a potential promoter or detractor, depending on how quickly the company takes steps to convert them. They will give you an average score of 7 or 8 and are neutral or ambivalent about your services. The problem is that they are sensitive to your competitors' offerings. These people could disappear like that from your customer base tomorrow and you wouldn't even know it. Finally, there are the detractors. Generally speaking, detractors are people who are not satisfied with your brand, product, or service. These are the people who rate you from 0 to 6. The good thing about detractors is that they identify things you need to fix in your business. If you listen to them, and you correct those opportunities, you will turn these people into promoters of your business. They will stay with you longer and they will make your business more profitable in the long run. When you gather all the surveys and want to calculate the NPS score, it comes down to a simple equation. Let's take this example. You send out a survey to your customers. Let's say 115 people responded. 60 of them give you a score of 9 or 10. These are your promoters. 39 are passive satisfier and 16 are detractors. So here's the equation we use. You take the number of promoters and divide it by the total number of responses. So 60 out of 115 is 52%. Then you do the same calculation for the detractors. 16 out of 115 is 14%. We don't deal with the passively satisfied because these people are at risk of leaving you at any time. So you take now the 52% of promoters minus the 14% of detractors, and you come up with an NPS 38%. So 38% is the percentage of your customer base that are pure promoters. You may be wondering why the result of the passive satisfied are not part of the equation. Well, here's the answer. Simply put, they don't count in your score because they don't influence a potential new customer's decision one way or the other. Promoters are your most loyal customer. They are the most willing to refer new customers and put their reputation on the line to protect your brand, your product, and your service. As such, the positive influence of your promoters can play a major role in the growth of your business. Now, your detractors are also passionate and vocal customers, but for one reason or another, they are unhappy with the product or service we provide. Like promoters, detractors often share their experience publicly, which is something you want to avoid in their case, especially since negative word of mouth has even more influence on potential new customers. So your passive customers are relatively quiet and satisfied. Their lack of enthusiasm often prevents them from sharing their good or bad experiences with others. And as a result, their overall impact on your business growth is often negligible. For these reasons, the passive satisfied are not factored into the NPS equation. Almost everyone who measures NPS wonders if their score is good or not. There is a reason why this is one of the top NPS related search queries on Google. Let's say right off the bat that any NPS above 0 is considered as a result that indicates more customers are willing to refer new customers to you than suggests they not visit your business. That being said, there are more official indicators you can measure yourself against as well. Danger zone, -100 to 0. If you are in this so-called danger zone, it means that you have more detractors than promoters. Companies in this position tend to experience very high churn, low public opinion, low customer referrals, and basically all the negatives that can be associated with low customer loyalty. The good 0 to 50, the average NPS score is in the 20% range, which we call good. Most companies are in the 20 to 40% range, which usually means they've met the customer satisfaction threshold. And if you are in the good zone, you don't have any army of haters criticizing your brand. The excellent zone is where you'll find companies that constantly exceed their customer expectation. This is good service where the staff is always attentive, everything is in order, and there are no major issues with things like customer service. These are the companies that promise less and deliver more. World class now, 75 to 100. Those companies are in a whole different league. They are fanatical about the customer experience and as a result have off the charts loyalty levels. We're talking about the Ritz-Carlton, Nespresso, Apple, Costco, Amazon.com. It's important to keep in mind that average NPS scores can often vary greatly depending on the industry in which you operate. Since most of your competitors will never publicly post their NPS score, your best bet is to actually measure your score against yourself. This will be a KPI to understand if you are moving in the right direction. Designing and conducting the NPS survey does not require a long planning process. With only one question, the survey can be designed in one day and sent out the next day. Don't worry about surveying all your customers. Start small so you can get started quickly. Use a simple survey of a group of customers to show management how quickly they can identify customer experience opportunities. NPS is basic and fundamental. It is so simple and intuitive that it is easy for your entire organization to understand it. It's a great way to communicate about improving your customer experience. Thank you for watching the video, and please feel free to share it with others. If you found this video useful, feel free also to click the like button. If you have any topics you would like us to cover, write them down in the comment section at the bottom of the screen. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already do so. We have all kinds of strategies and tricks coming out almost every week. Bye-bye.